The city buzzed with excitement. Tonight was the grand opening of the Gilded Opera House, a place that had taken years to build. Its golden pillars, tall arches, and sparkling chandeliers promised beauty unlike anything the city had ever seen. People from all over the region had come to witness the event. Among them was Aaron, a young engineer who had always admired both architecture and music. He had heard of the opera house's fame and wanted to see it for himself. As Aaron stepped inside, he could hardly believe his eyes. Every corner of the building seemed to shine with light. The walls were decorated with intricate patterns, the ceiling painted with murals of dancers and musicians. The seats gleamed, and the stage stood like a jewel, ready to welcome performers. Aaron felt a thrill in his chest. He had worked on smaller projects, but he had never seen a building designed with such care and vision. Among the crowd, a soft melody floated through the air. Myra, a young singer with a voice as clear as a mountain stream, began her opening performance. She wore a simple but elegant gown, and her eyes shone with concentration. Her song carried through the opera house, reaching every corner with perfect clarity. Aaron felt drawn to her voice. It was not only beautiful, it was alive. During the performance, Aaron's eyes wandered to the stage. He noticed something others did not: a tiny crack in one of the pillars near the stage, and a faint heat coming from a hidden light fixture. He frowned, uneasy. Something about it did not feel right. But around him, the audience was completely captivated by the music. They clapped and whispered in admiration, oblivious to the small signs of danger. After the performance, Aaron moved closer to the stage, curious to meet the singer. As he approached, he noticed her backstage entrance. Myra was speaking quietly with a stagehand, her face glowing from the excitement of performing. Aaron waited for a moment, then gently introduced himself. "Hello," he said, smiling. "I'm Aaron. Your performance was amazing." Myra turned to him, slightly surprised. "Thank you," she replied. Her voice was as kind as it was strong. "Did you enjoy it?" "I did," Aaron said. "And I noticed you perform with so much passion. It's inspiring." Myra smiled, a small, warm smile that seemed to light up the dim backstage area. "It's not easy to perform in a place this grand. The building itself is almost overwhelming. But when I sing, I forget everything else." They talked for a few minutes, sharing stories about their lives. Aaron spoke of his love for building structures that could last for generations, while Myra shared her dream of singing for people who could truly appreciate her voice. They laughed softly at small jokes and admired each other's dedication to their craft. Even in the short time they spent together, a quiet connection began to form. Suddenly, a faint smell of smoke reached them. Aaron's eyes narrowed as he scanned the backstage area. A small flame had appeared near the corner, likely from an old, faulty light fixture. He acted quickly. "We need to alert someone before it spreads," he said. Myra nodded, and together they ran to find the staff. Within minutes, the small fire was extinguished. It had caused no harm, but the tension in the air lingered. Aaron felt a surge of relief, mixed with concern. Myra's calmness impressed him. She had not panicked, and her presence had helped him stay focused. As the crowd cheered outside for the opera's opening, Aaron and Myra shared a brief moment of quiet. They realized that, despite the grandeur of the night and the music filling the halls, something deeper had begun: a spark of connection between two people who shared courage, passion, and curiosity. Aaron left the opera house that night with a sense of awe for both the building and the singer. He knew he would return, not just to admire the architecture, but to see Myra again. And Myra, too, felt a flicker of anticipation, wondering who this thoughtful, observant young man might become in her life. The gilded opera house glimmered under the city lights, and within its walls, the story of Aaron and Myra quietly began, a story that would soon be tested in ways neither could yet imagine. The day after the grand opening, Aaron found himself thinking about the opera house more than he expected. Its beauty had amazed him, but it was the singer, Myra, who lingered in his mind. He remembered her voice, the way her eyes shone when she sang, and the quiet courage she had shown backstage during the small fire. He felt a pull to see her again, to learn more about the person behind that voice. By coincidence, Myra had also been thinking about Aaron. She remembered his calm demeanor, his sharp eyes that seemed to notice everything, and the way he had helped control the fire. She had met many people in her life, but few had made her feel this sense of trust so quickly. She wondered why, but she could not deny the warmth it brought to her heart. Aaron returned to the opera house under the pretense of checking some of its technical aspects. He had noticed the cracks and faint heat the night before, and he wanted to make sure everything was safe. As he walked through the gilded halls, he imagined how the building would look filled with light and music again, how every corner held the promise of stories waiting to be told. In the rehearsal room, Myra was preparing for the next performance. Her voice floated through the large space as she practiced a new song, soft and careful at first, then growing stronger. Aaron stood in the doorway, listening quietly. He did not want to startle her, but he could not help being drawn to her music. Myra turned at the sound of footsteps. "Aaron. You came back," she said with a smile that made him feel welcome. "I wasn't expecting to see you so soon." "I wanted to make sure everything is all right," Aaron replied, pointing to the faint marks and small cracks he had noticed. "The opera house is beautiful, but I worry about some hidden issues that could be dangerous if left unchecked." Myra nodded thoughtfully. "I trust your judgment. You seemed very calm yesterday, and I could tell you knew what to do. Maybe you could show me what worries you." Together, they walked through the stage area and the hidden corridors behind it. Aaron pointed out spots that seemed risky: overheated lights, loose wires, and minor cracks in the support beams. Myra listened carefully, asking questions and showing genuine interest. She admired how deeply he cared about the safety of the building and the people inside it. While inspecting the opera house, their conversation shifted from technical details to personal stories. Aaron spoke of his childhood fascination with buildings, how he would draw them and imagine their hidden rooms. Myra shared memories of singing to her family as a child, dreaming of one day performing for audiences who truly felt the music. "You know," Myra said softly, "it's strange how our passions are different, but the feeling is the same. You love building, I love singing, but both make people feel something." Aaron smiled. "Exactly. It's about creating something that touches hearts, in one way or another." As they talked, a small spark of friendship grew into something more. They laughed at little jokes, shared quiet observations, and even helped each other reach difficult spots during the inspection. Aaron lifted a heavy curtain for Myra, and she helped him steady a leaning ladder. Every gesture, small as it was, built trust and connection. Suddenly, a faint smell of smoke drifted through the air. Both froze. Aaron's eyes narrowed as he spotted a small flicker near a hidden light fixture just like the night before. "Not again," Aaron muttered. He quickly grabbed a nearby fire extinguisher and ran toward the flame. Myra followed without hesitation, her calmness steadying him as they worked together. In moments, the small fire was out. Breathing heavily, Myra looked at him and smiled. You know, you make danger feel less frightening. Aaron chuckled, feeling a warmth in his chest. I think it's easier when you're here. We make a good team. For a few quiet seconds, they simply stood together, the danger past but the excitement lingering. The room was filled with golden light from the opera house's chandeliers, and in that light, both felt a sense of connection neither had expected. As they left the rehearsal room, Aaron realized he wanted to spend more time with Myra, not just for safety inspections or music, but because being near her made everything feel brighter, more alive. And Myra, walking beside him, felt the same pull, as if the opera house had not just created music, but something much more personal, a beginning, a spark that might grow into something extraordinary. Aaron could not stop thinking about the opera house. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the golden walls, the sparkling chandeliers, and the stage where Myra had sung so beautifully. But behind that beauty, worry grew in his mind. The small cracks he had noticed, the heat near hidden lights, these were not normal signs. Something serious could happen if the building was not checked properly. He decided to spend more time in the opera house, examining every corner, every beam, every wire. Myra noticed his frequent visits and asked him about them during rehearsals. You seem to spend more time here than anyone else, she said one afternoon, her curiosity gentle and warm. What keeps bringing you back? Aaron smiled, a little sheepishly. I want to make sure everything is safe. The house is beautiful, but I've seen things that worry me. I can't ignore them. Myra nodded thoughtfully. I understand. And I trust your judgment. You noticed things others didn't. You have a way of seeing what's hidden. As they walked through the corridors together, Aaron showed Myra the small cracks, the heat spots, and places where wires were not properly secured. Myra listened carefully, asking questions, sometimes offering her own observations. Her attention impressed Aaron. She was not only a talented singer but also someone who noticed details, someone who could understand the importance of careful observation. Their friendship grew in these moments. They shared small stories about their lives. Aaron talked about his childhood in a small town, where he would watch buildings rise from the ground and dream of constructing structures that could last for generations. Myra told him about her first stage performance, singing to her family in a tiny hall, dreaming of singing for audiences who could feel the music in their hearts. You know, Myra said one day, smiling softly, it feels strange. We care about very different things, music, buildings, but somehow it's the same. Both are meant to make people feel something, to leave a memory behind. Aaron looked at her, impressed by her insight. You're right. Both are creations in their own way. And both can be fragile. Music can fade if it's not performed with care, and buildings can fail if they're not built carefully. As they spent time together, Aaron began to notice little things about Myra that made him smile. The way she tucked her hair behind her ear when concentrating, the way her eyes sparkled when she spoke about her dreams, the quiet strength she showed even in stressful moments. Myra, in turn, noticed Aaron's patience, his attention to detail, and the calm way he approached problems. Being near him felt safe, yet exciting, like discovering something new and wonderful. One evening, as the sun set and painted the opera house in golden light, Aaron stayed late to inspect a particularly risky section of the stage. Myra had already finished rehearsal and was packing her things when she noticed him. You're still here? She asked, walking over. It's getting late. Aaron looked up, slightly startled but happy to see her. I I just want to make sure everything is okay. There's a spot near the stage that could be dangerous if it's ignored. Myra nodded and came closer. Let me help. I might not be an engineer, but I can see things from a singer's perspective. Sometimes I notice things others don't. Together, they examined the area carefully. Myra pointed out a small crack near a stage support beam that Aaron had not noticed. He nodded, impressed. You're right. That could be serious if left unchecked. As they worked side by side, a small bond formed in silence. They didn't need many words, just the shared understanding of responsibility, and the quiet thrill of working together to protect the place they both loved. Suddenly, a faint smell of smoke drifted toward them. Aaron's heart raced. He turned quickly and saw a tiny flicker near one of the stage lights, just like before. Not again, he muttered. Myra's calm presence steadied him. Together, they acted fast, using a nearby extinguisher to put out the small flame. Once it was done, Aaron let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. You handled that very well, Myra said softly, placing a hand briefly on his arm. The touch sent a small shiver of warmth through him. We make a good team, don't we? Aaron nodded, a small smile spreading across his face. Yes, we do. They left the stage together, their hearts lighter but their minds alert. Aaron knew the opera house was hiding secrets, and he was determined to uncover them. Myra knew that whatever danger lay ahead, she wanted to face it alongside him. And as they walked through the golden halls, the first hints of something deeper, something that could grow into love, quietly began to take root. The days passed quickly, and the Gilded Opera House became a place of constant energy. Myra was busy with rehearsals for the upcoming gala performance, and Aaron continued his inspections, moving through hidden corridors and climbing under the stage to check every detail. Despite the busy schedule, their paths crossed often, and with each meeting, their bond grew stronger. One afternoon, Myra found Aaron sitting near the stage, examining the support beams. You spend so much time here, she said, leaning on the railing above him. Do you ever rest? Aaron looked up and smiled. I rest, but I worry more. This building is beautiful, but there are things that could become dangerous if ignored. I can't just walk away. Myra nodded, understanding. I know what it is to care about something so much that it keeps you awake at night. Music does that to me. I think we're not so different, you and I. Their eyes met for a moment, and the connection they felt before seemed to grow stronger. There was something comforting in knowing that someone else cared just as deeply, even if it was about a building or a song. As the gala approached, Aaron noticed more signs that worried him. A small smoke vent had clogged, wires were fraying in hidden areas, and some of the stage lights overheated easily. He tried to bring these concerns to the management, but they dismissed him politely, saying the opera house had already passed safety checks and the gala could not be delayed. Frustrated but determined, Aaron shared his worries with Myra. I think something serious could happen if we don't do something, he said quietly. The staff doesn't see the risks, and the management is too focused on appearances. Myra's eyes widened slightly, but she nodded with determination. Then we need to be careful ourselves. Maybe we can fix some of the smaller issues before it's too late. Over the next few days, they worked together in secret, inspecting hidden corners and adjusting lights, securing loose wires, and making small repairs. Every time they solved a problem, their teamwork strengthened their trust. Aaron admired Myra's calm focus, even when climbing under the stage or checking hot electrical fixtures. Myra appreciated Aaron's careful attention to every detail and his calm, methodical way of thinking. During these moments, they also talked about their dreams and fears. Myra confessed her worry that she might never perform in front of audiences who truly felt her music. Aaron shared his fear of failure, that despite all his knowledge, a mistake could lead to disaster. "You know," Myra said one evening, as they adjusted a stage light together, "I think we make a good team. We watch out for each other, and somehow that makes me feel braver." Aaron looked at her, a warmth spreading in his chest. "I feel the same. It's easier to face challenges when you're here. You make me feel capable." They smiled at each other, the moment gentle but full of meaning. In the quiet backstage of the opera house, surrounded by tools, lights, and shadows, a quiet connection began to grow, one built on trust, respect, and the thrill of shared purpose. But the opera house had other plans. During one rehearsal, while Myra practiced a difficult piece, a small spark flew from a light fixture near the stage. Aaron noticed immediately and rushed over. Myra followed, calm but alert. Together, they acted quickly, controlling the spark before it became dangerous. Breathing heavily, Aaron said, "This is happening more often. I'm afraid something bigger could happen if we don't prepare for it." Myra reached out and touched his arm gently. "Then we'll face it together. Whatever comes, we won't be afraid because we have each other." For a moment, the fire and danger seemed far away, and all that mattered was the trust they shared. They stood together, shoulder to shoulder, hearts racing not just from the near accident, but from the closeness that had grown between them. As the sun set outside the golden windows of the opera house, painting the walls with warm light, Aaron realized that protecting the building had become more than a duty. It was a mission he could not face alone, and he did not want to. Myra's presence had become as essential to him as his own courage. Myra, too, felt a growing certainty. She had found someone who shared her dedication, her courage, and now, it seemed, her heart. Together, they were not just fixing a building, they were creating a partnership built on trust, bravery, and something quietly powerful, the beginning of love. The night of the gala arrived, and the gilded opera house glimmered under thousands of lights. The audience had filled every seat, their faces bright with excitement. Outside, the city buzzed with anticipation, but inside, the building held a tension that only Aaron and Myra fully understood. They had prepared as best they could, but hidden flaws still remained. Myra stood backstage, her costume gleaming under the warm lights. She took a deep breath and focused on her performance. Aaron was nearby, checking one last time on the lights and support beams. Their eyes met for a moment, and a quiet understanding passed between them, a promise to watch out for each other. The music began, and Myra's voice rose, filling the hall with beauty. The audience was captivated, unaware of the quiet worry behind the scenes. Aaron's attention, however, was divided. He watched the stage carefully, noting the areas that could pose danger, the spots he had fixed and the ones he could not reach. Then, without warning, a hidden wire ignited near the edge of the stage. A small flame appeared, unnoticed by the audience. Aaron's heart leaped. He knew what could happen if the fire spread too quickly. "Myra," he whispered urgently, rushing toward the stage. Myra saw the flicker in the corner of her eye but did not panic. She trusted Aaron, and together, they moved with purpose. Aaron grabbed a fire extinguisher while Myra guided the performers and staff toward the exits. The small flame grew faster than expected, feeding on the old wooden panels beneath the stage. Smoke began to rise, curling toward the chandeliers. The audience murmured, sensing something was wrong. Aaron shouted instructions, his voice steady despite the fear. Myra's calm presence gave him strength, and he felt a surge of confidence. They had trained for smaller incidents, but this was real, much bigger than anything they had faced before. Together, they led performers through hidden corridors, opening doors, and clearing paths. Myra's voice, calm and steady, reassured everyone as they moved. Aaron kept a close eye on the fire, ensuring no one was left behind. The adrenaline raced through both of them, but their teamwork was flawless. At one point, Myra turned back to help a stagehand trapped behind a falling piece of scenery. Aaron reached her just in time, pulling her and the stagehand out of harm's way. Their hands brushed, and a flash of connection passed between them, fear and relief mingling with something deeper. Finally, they reached the main exit, guiding the last of the performers and staff outside. Firefighters were arriving as the smoke thickened, quickly taking control of the blaze. Aaron and Myra stepped back, watching as their beloved opera house was threatened but not destroyed. Their hearts were pounding, but they were safe, and so were the people they cared for. Breathing heavily, Myra turned to Aaron. "We did it," she said softly, a mix of exhaustion and triumph in her voice. "Everyone is safe." Aaron smiled, his hands still trembling slightly. "We did it together. I couldn't have done it without you." They stood side by side, watching the fire being contained. In the glow of the flames and the flickering lights, their bond felt stronger than ever. What had begun as admiration and friendship had grown into something more, a trust that could withstand danger, and a connection that neither wanted to ignore. As the smoke cleared and the last sparks were extinguished, the gala continued in a limited way, with the audience moved by the courage of the performers and staff. Aaron and Myra slipped away to a quiet corner outside the opera house, catching their breath. "Aaron," Myra said, her eyes bright, "tonight was terrifying, but I'm glad we were together. I feel like we can face anything as long as we have each other." Aaron reached out, taking her hand gently. "I feel the same. Tonight showed me that bravery isn't just about fighting fires, it's about standing with someone you trust, no matter what happens." For a long moment, they stood there, the city lights reflecting in their eyes. Neither spoke, but both understood. Something had shifted between them, quietly, yet completely. In the midst of chaos and danger, they had found not only courage but a deep connection that neither wanted to let go. The opera house, though scarred by the night's events, still stood proud. And inside its walls and outside, in the hearts of two people, something extraordinary had begun, a bond forged in trust, courage, and the beginnings of love. The morning after the gala, the city buzzed with news of the small fire at the Gilded Opera House. Though the blaze had been contained quickly, people spoke of the courage shown by the staff, the performers, and especially Aaron and Myra. Both were exhausted, but there was a quiet satisfaction in their hearts. They had faced danger together and emerged stronger, not just physically but in a bond that had grown beyond words. Aaron walked slowly through the backstage corridors, now quiet and empty. The smoke had cleared, leaving faint marks on the walls, reminders of the fire's power. He inspected the areas once more, making notes for repairs and adjustments. Even after the threat had passed, his dedication did not waver. He wanted to ensure that the opera house would remain safe for everyone who came to enjoy its beauty. Myra arrived soon after, carrying a folder of music sheets. She found Aaron near the stage, examining a support beam. "Still working?" she asked, her voice soft but teasing. Aaron looked up and smiled, a little tired but content. "I have to. There are still things that need fixing. But I'm glad you're here." Myra set the folder down and joined him. Together, they walked slowly through the building, pointing out areas that needed attention. As they moved, they talked quietly, reflecting on the previous night. It was frightening, Myra admitted. But I never felt alone. You were calm, and somehow that made me calmer too. Aaron nodded. I felt the same. I don't think I could have handled it without you. You stayed focused when it mattered most. That meant a lot to me. They stopped near the main stage, where the marks of smoke were still faintly visible. Myra gently ran her fingers over the polished wood, imagining the stage restored to its former glory. It's amazing, she said, how something can be so beautiful, and yet so fragile. It makes me appreciate every moment we spend here. Aaron looked at her, feeling a warmth in his chest. Yes. And it also makes me appreciate the people who care about it and each other. Tonight showed me what's important: trust, teamwork, and the people who matter most. Myra smiled, a quiet understanding in her eyes. For a moment, neither spoke. The city outside continued its daily rhythm, but inside the opera house, time felt still, filled only with the connection between them. Over the next few days, they worked together on repairs. Aaron oversaw the engineers fixing lights, reinforcing beams, and replacing worn wires. Myra helped by moving furniture, organizing rehearsal spaces, and encouraging the staff and performers. Their teamwork became seamless, a balance of strength, care, and mutual respect. During breaks, they would sit quietly together, sharing stories and laughter. Sometimes, Myra would hum softly, and Aaron would listen, enjoying the sound of her voice as much as he had on stage. Other times, Aaron would sketch small diagrams or ideas for improvements, and Myra would offer her thoughts, noticing details he might have missed. One evening, as the sun dipped low, casting golden light through the tall windows, Myra spoke softly. Aaron, I think this opera house means more to me than I realized. Not just the music, but everything we've shared here. And you've become important too. Aaron reached for her hand, holding it gently. Myra, I feel the same. What happened during the fire, it wasn't just about courage or quick thinking. It showed me what really matters. And you matter a lot. For a long moment, they stood together, letting the quiet understanding settle between them. The fire had tested their bravery, but it had also revealed something deeper: a connection built on trust, admiration, and the beginnings of love. The opera house, still recovering from the damage, seemed to glow in their shared presence. Each repaired beam, polished floor, and renewed light became a symbol of resilience, not just of the building, but of the people who cared for it, and of the bond that had grown amidst danger and dedication. As they left for the evening, walking side by side through the gilded halls, Aaron felt a sense of peace. The opera house was alive again, filled with music, light, and hope. And he knew that whatever challenges came next, he and Myra would face them together, their hearts and minds united. The city outside sparkled, unaware of the quiet story unfolding inside the gilded walls: a story of courage, care, and the extraordinary connection between two people who had found trust, friendship, and love in the heart of danger. Months had passed since the fire at the Gilded Opera House. The building had been repaired carefully, stronger and safer than ever. Every wall was polished, every beam reinforced, and every light tested. The city eagerly awaited the reopening, and the staff and performers were ready to welcome audiences once more. Aaron stood quietly near the entrance, his eyes scanning the gilded halls. He felt a sense of pride and relief. The opera house had survived, not just because of its design, but because of the people who cared for it. And among those people, Myra had been his anchor, the voice of calm, courage, and warmth. Myra arrived in a flowing dress, her hair perfectly arranged, her presence radiant. She carried herself with confidence, ready to face the crowd and perform for the first time since the fire. When she saw Aaron, her face lit up with a smile that made his heart race. "You're here early," she said softly, her eyes shining. "I wanted to see it ready," Aaron replied, smiling back. "And, to see you perform. I wouldn't miss it for the world." The performance began, and Myra's voice filled the hall, stronger and more beautiful than ever. The audience was captivated, moved by the emotion and power of her singing. Aaron watched from the wings, his chest swelling with pride. He remembered the fear and chaos of the fire, and now he felt a deep sense of gratitude for her safety, for the restored opera house, and for the bond they shared. During the performance, Aaron noticed small details: the way the stage now glimmered without danger, the way the lights highlighted Myra perfectly, and the way the audience leaned forward, absorbed in every note. He realized that their combined efforts, his careful attention to the building and her dedication to music, had made this moment possible. After the final note, the audience erupted in applause. Myra took her bows, her eyes searching for Aaron in the crowd. When she spotted him, she felt a wave of relief and happiness. He nodded, giving her a small, proud smile. It was a silent message: everything was all right, and this was only the beginning. Later, when the crowd had dispersed, Aaron and Myra walked together through the opera house. The golden walls reflected the soft evening light, and the chandeliers sparkled like stars. The quiet of the building was different now: it felt alive, safe, and full of possibilities. "Myra," Aaron began, his voice gentle, "tonight was perfect. I've never seen you sing like that. And seeing the opera house restored, it makes me feel like anything is possible." Myra looked at him, her eyes warm. "It does, doesn't it? And I'm glad we faced the fire together. It taught me a lot about courage, about caring for others, and about love." Aaron's hand found hers, and he held it softly. "I feel the same. We've seen danger, worked together, and now I can't imagine my life without you by my side." A quiet silence settled between them, full of meaning. The opera house around them seemed to glow with approval, as if it celebrated not only the restoration of its walls but also the hearts of those who loved it. From that night on, Aaron and Myra were inseparable. They continued to care for the opera house, planning new performances, inspecting the building, and inspiring others with their dedication. Their story spread quietly through the city, a tale of courage, trust, and the extraordinary connection between two people who faced danger together and emerged stronger. The Gilded Opera House became more than a place for music. It was a symbol of human bravery, teamwork, and the power of passion. And in its golden halls, the story of Aaron and Myra lived on, a story of friendship, trust, and the kind of love that grows in the light of shared challenges. As they stood together on the stage one evening, the chandeliers casting gentle light around them, Aaron turned to Myra. "We've come a long way," he said softly. "Yes," Myra replied, her hand still in his. "And I think the best is yet to come." They smiled at each other, hearts full of hope, knowing that together they could face anything. The opera house, proud and shining, stood as a reminder of what humanity could achieve: courage, care, and love, all shining brighter than gold. And so, the story of the Gilded Opera House and the two people who had faced fire and danger together came to a close, not with an ending, but with a beginning, a life filled with music, light, and the extraordinary bond of two hearts united.